Guys, breaking news. So Dan Bongino has officially joined Kash Patel as the deputy director running the FBI under Pam Bondi, and Social Security is about to see an increase coming to all recipients and better benefits, medical benefits, guys. Holy smokes, this is insane, guys. Elon Musk came out this morning and said with all the fraud, waste, and abuse that they're cleaning up, that we're going to be able to give an increase to Social Security recipients as well as also better health benefits. Guys, I'm going to show you the post and everything in just a moment. This is beautiful, guys, but right here, newly sworn in FBI Director Kash Patel welcomes Dan Bongino as Deputy Director. He's a cop's cop. So holy smokes, these two guys running the FBI. On top of this beautiful news, Elon Musk issues update on Social Security, increasingly optimistic. And guys, you just can't wait till I show you the actual post that he did this morning, just telling about giving an increase for the first dang time, a substantial increase to Social Security recipients, guys. Holy smokes. But we have all these clips for you in just a moment. Bongino being put into this position is going to be insane. He said when it comes, because he's already said this, guys, when it comes to unveiling the truth about the Bidens, the Clintons, the Obamas, we have a dream team who is 100% heck bent on going after the bad guys. We're talking about unveiling the January 6th pipe bomber, the FBI that was involved with the January 6th riot, the attempted assassination attempt on Trump in Butler County that we still don't know anything about. Bongino said he's ready to investigate and reveal to the country what has actually happened, and he's going to help bring the FBI to the highest level possible. And guys, unfortunately, he also did say that he is going to be shutting down the Dan Bongino show while he is on duty. So I hate that, but I'm happy for him. We need that. Also, who's ready to see a Social Security increase to recipients? Elon Musk has come out this morning. He said, and I quote, "We are increasingly optimistic that as the immense waste and fraud are eliminated from Social Security and medical, that there is potential increase to actual dollars received by citizens and better health care." They already found 200 more billion, guys. There's a new polling that revealed this morning that 7 out of 10 voters want $1 trillion minimum removed from federal spending. And with this, think about how much better our seniors are going to be whenever they start giving more back, because we're actually cutting out all the fraud, waste, and abuse, especially when you find how many hundreds of millions to billions of dollars have been paid out in Social Security payments to people over the age of 115. All this is coming out today, guys. It's insane. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. We got a dang good show for you today, guys. Want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. And also, if you don't mind, guys, clicking the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel out so much with your support. Thank you to all of our members of the channel. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. And guys, don't forget, in the link in the description, we started a brand new channel where we're going to be focused on smaller form content, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. The link is in the description to go to that new channel. Please subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers this week. And guys, I want to reveal to you, this is huge. Check it out. We've got the new TrueLife News t-shirts that we're going to be selling on the channel. So you can see right here, got the American flag, TrueLife News, Real American. Guys, these feel amazing. These shirts are so good. And then check this out, guys. Got the American flag on the back. Guys, I am so excited about these. I love the quality. I love the entire design. And so we're going to be putting in the order for these and selling these on the channel. Remember, guys, we're going to be donating a portion of this to the charities that we give to. But we're super excited about it, guys. Let me know what you think of the shirts. But there's so much to get into, guys. Updates of Social Security increases. Bongino joining as deputy director to the FBI. Check this out.
And now director, gosh, that sounds good to say. FBI director Kash Patel offered this role I expressed an interest in. And ladies and gentlemen, I told you, you see, it's hard for me. I'm going to accept the role proudly as the deputy director, the number 2 spot at the Federal Bureau of Investigation. I'm going to sit here as a commentator, talking head, whatever dopey title we have. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that do matters and then sit on my ass when an opportunity comes to do the right thing. And not only talk about everything we wanted to change, but actually change it. There are a lot of people listening today. And I hope you understand that. I want to address something too. I know, New York Times and others, of course, are all of the attack pieces start already, which is fascinating from these two who were on the wrong side of the truth when it came to the collusion hoax and others. I don't think they understand what it's like to commit to service, not partisan service, but service. I get it if you are a political opponent of mine that has been involved with proudly celebrating a weaponized justice system, how you don't understand how a guy like me who discusses partisan content in an opinion show can go and do a unquestionably nonpartisan job. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Have you seen what I did before I came here? But I am going in this clear-eyed. Vision of President Trump, Attorney General Bondi, and Director Patel. I am going to do my job to implement that vision. And I can tell you right now, we are going to try our best. Every single thing I have in me, every single strand of DNA cell in my body is going to be dedicated towards keeping this homeland safe, no matter what. No matter what, that's my job. We're going to reestablish faith in this institution. And the good people there doing their job, hitting the streets, developing sources. We'll have your back. We are going to reestablish faith in this institution. The FBI belongs to the American people. Doesn't belong to me. Doesn't belong to anyone else but the American people. But this is the honor of a lifetime, and it's a serious mission. And I plan on implementing that vision. Folks, there are a small number of people out there in the country right now dedicated to doing really bad things. It's not the overwhelming majority of Americans are patriots that love this country and love their family. They love their jobs. They go to work every day. But there are a small number of really bad people out there who are planning on really bad things, from terrorists to narco traffickers, child sex rings, gang members. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to rest easy until we find as many of you as we can. Don't sleep, no after today. But that's my mission.
I love it.
Folks, of course, the Constitution matters. We're going to get back to the 4 corners of that document that guide us all as well.
Guys, I hope you're feeling this with me, guys. Remember, he has literally given up the show. He's going to stop doing the Dan Bongino show to go be the deputy director of the FBI, giving his heart, giving his mind, everything that he's got to helping clean up the FBI. And I just think, like, what an honorable thing to do. Thank you so much, David Sterling, for the super chat. Let's go. He said, you're doing a great job and I can trust everything you do. Yay, y'all show David some love in the chat. And guys, if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, thank you so much for your support in our channel.
And I think you know from my history of covering content here that the primacy of that is really important. You understand that? It is the one thing that dictates all the rest of your actions, and that's the Constitution. Mark Penn, who's a Democrat pollster, and I don't care what you're hearing about the public polling. The public polling, people can cherry pick polls all they want. For every poll you tell me, well, voters are dissatisfied with this, and I've seen this all the time, you can pick another poll that voters are mostly liking what they're seeing. How do we know that? Because Mark Penn in a tweet put out those literal words. Voters are mostly, he's a Democrat pollster. are liking what they see in the first month of the new presidency. 57-43, voters say Trump's doing a better job than Biden in an advanced look at a poll coming out on Monday. Job approvals at 52, but closing the border, cutting waste are hugely popular. So is resetting merit as the prime hiring and contracting principle. They don't agree with everything being done. They cites the Gulf of America, which I haven't heard anybody really complaining about, but people feel much better about the direction of the country and the economy. It's Democrats are cratering down to 36% approval. It's going to be a big problem from them, obviously, moving forward. I wanted to address this, too. This is one of the reasons you have public frustration with taxpayer dollars being allocated to outfits with very little accountability when people are working in jobs and have been working in jobs where the bookkeeper, the accountant, or whoever it is, if you spend $1 at a gas station on a company card and you can't explain what it's for, they've had to account for every single dollar the entire time. Here, folks, let's get this USAID article. USAID squandered, but think about this. Think about the loss factor in this. New York Times, how USAID squandered billions in Haiti and around the globe. There were $2 billion in contracts and grants for Haiti-related work. Less than $50 million. That's 2%. Let me say that again. 2% of the $2 billion that was supposed to go to Haiti went to Haitian organizations or firms. Even went to the firms. By comparison, $1.3 billion, 56% has gone to firms located in or near the U.S. Capitol. Little wonder USAID is so threatened by the sudden scrutiny. Folks, there is a problem with third-party spending. If I've highlighted it once, I've highlighted it 1,000 times on this show. Milton Friedman has discussed this often. When the government takes taxpayer dollars from its citizens and spends money not even on itself, but on other people most of the time, on programs and giveaways and USAID, the cost or the quality don't matter. The cost doesn't matter because you're not buying anything with your money, so why would you care about the cost? But here's the kicker. The quality doesn't matter either because a large portion of the time you're not even buying anything for yourself. There is a specific level of unaccountability that exists not solely in government, but you have a persistent problem in government because it's other people's money spent on other people. That's a hard thing to get over. That's why when you're in government, you have to hire the best of the best of the best of the best because you have to get over that natural impulse because it's not your money and you're not even spending it on anyone else. That's where you get clips like this. I was watching this clip this weekend, going through some show preparation material, and I saw the CNN clip pop up. And they're talking about spending as if it's their money. Like, hey, listen, there's a Sesame Street program in Iraq. And don't laugh, by the way. That's actually what this video is about. But there's this really valuable Sesame Street program in Iraq that, terrorists may watch instead of terrorist material. So, okay, well, what about that money back in the United States that had to come from people who had to pay it, who could have kept that in their business? Watch this clip from CNN. You'll see what I mean. And I'm going to play for you I'm going to show you a clip from the Wall Street Journal about this just amazing first month of Donald Trump and how this has hit. The winning has just caught everybody by surprise. Check this out.
Okay. I'm going to get to the economics. Come on. I gave you a chance for a great sound bite. You got and those soft power exercises make for great sound bites. But when you drill down, for example, on Sesame Street in Iraq, they often make sense. Joseph Nye from Harvard, who gets credited with the coinage of the word soft power, you'd rather spend on that than bullets. But wait, you want to talk about
there was a terrorist attack in Iraq last month that killed 40 people. It's clearly not working. Soft power and Sesame Street are not working. If there are terrorists, we need to kill the terrorists. We don't need to fund Big Bird and Elmo.
Guys, they literally said we need to fund the Sesame Street so that hopefully these terrorists will watch the Sesame Street instead of going and watching other crime things. So that way, that's why we got to give them money. You cannot make this up. The just idiotic ways that our government has spent our hard-earned tax dollars, guys. But things are changing. Newly sworn in FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino steps in, guys, to work as the number 2 guy at the FBI under Kash Patel. Like, these two guys, really? Like, this is change, guys, at the highest level that you could see, where we are about to see things happen. And on top of that, guys, the other insanely big news today, Elon Musk issues update on Social Security, increasingly optimistic. Look at this post right here, guys. This, if it doesn't get no more transparent than this, let me know. Elon Musk, right here, guys. I show you the followers because I'm showing you it's from Elon Musk. 218 million followers. We are increasingly optimistic that as the immense waste and fraud are eliminated from Social Security and medical, that there is potential to increase actual dollars received by citizens and better health care. What more do you want? Can you imagine the red wave that would happen in 2 years if Trump and Elon are able to give a 25-30% increase to Social Security recipients on top of lowering the taxes for all taxpayers? Guys, this is the biggest changes that I can see ever coming to the American people in putting them first. Check this out.
So much big news. The clip's not even in there. Dan Bongino, friend and colleague. I met Dan years ago with Andrew Breitbart, over a decade ago. Dan ran for Congress out in Western Maryland. Then he ran for the Senate in Maryland. Then he ran for Congress down in Florida. He got into broadcasting, enormously successful, a great guy, and a law enforcement guy. Dan Bongino is the deputy to Kash Patel at the FBI. Let me repeat that. Running the FBI is Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. There are going to be some significant changes to the FBI, and I think Dan is the perfect guy to help initiate some of these investigations we talked about on J6 and other things. He would be fantastic. Hey, Glenn and Brian, we've had some, a little choppy on some of the polling. Ipsos had a poll out last week that we didn't get a chance to get to it because we were at CPAC, but it showed President Trump's approval rating, disapprove 51, approval 44. That's the first one I've seen like that. James Carville, Brian, as you know, came out yesterday. Not that he's done a very good job of being a forecaster, but he said in 30 days, President Trump's entire bottom of his polling is going to fall out because of what Elon Musk is doing over at DOGE. But this morning, Harvard-Harris, so the Harvard poll came out, and they're pretty blow-away numbers, Brian, Glenn. Can you walk us through it? Because it shows, I think we can say, Brian, Harvard is showing us that their poll overwhelming support for the direction of President Trump's actions and the direction of the days of thunder, sir?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you take a look at what the numbers even reflect with, let's start with the deportation of illegal criminals or illegals that have come in this country and even committed crime. You've got, 81% are for that. You go down the line of undertaking, ultimate fraud and waste in government, exactly what Elon Musk is doing. 76% of that. Now, even if you turn to the some of the more public policy type of deal, the keeping men out of women's sports, that's even 65% of that. So overwhelmingly, the people support this. So for Carville to just kind of spit off this nonsense that the bottom is going to fall out in 30 days, I don't see it according to this polling, and we're looking at it right now on your screen. Even going down to banning, or I should say, ending bans on offshore drilling in Alaska and elsewhere. That might be something. That's almost the tightest one. That's still 57%, Steve, approve of that. So this polling, I think, is the most accurate we've seen so far on what the American people feel about this. And I shared this on the morning show this morning. I'll share a quick story for you. I met two guys in the elevator going to work this morning that were on their way to the office, and they couldn't wait to check that email because they were like, well, do I have a job today? Am I going to have to, send in my top 5 things that I'm attempting to do this week or today? But that's what the American people voted on November 5th. We want accountability in our government. And, of course, according to this Harvard poll, Steve, people want the same thing. The only people who don't want it are the left,
the Democrats,
the government people that have been riding, I guess, the gravy train for way too long. But the polls reflect how the
guys, the polls show 100%. 7 out of 10 Americans want so much cut in the federal government, and they want to continue to see Trump fulfill his promises. This is amazing. Krisha Walters, thank you so much for the super chat and gifting one True Life News membership. Let's go. Y'all show Krisha some love in the chat. And if you don't mind, guys, clicking the thumbs up like button. Guys, we really appreciate your support. And just want to say, guys, we're so grateful. Guys, we're here to serve you.
People feel, and it's pretty good right now, Steve.
I think you see direction. Let me just go a couple of things through this. So the Ipsos poll had President Trump upside down. 51% disapproved, 44% approved. And like I said, we couldn't get to it. I was going to talk about it today because of CPAC. However, this came out, and as a counter, and the Harvard-Harris poll is a poll that's very highly thought of. Trump approval 52%, disapproval 43, plus 9. Brian just hits the high points. 58% say he's doing better than Biden. 81% support deporting criminal aliens. 76% support eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse. 76% support closing the U.S. border. 70% support merit-based hiring. 61% support reciprocal tariffs, and 60% think DOGE is helping. Now, particularly when you get to the 76s, the 70s and 80s, that's essentially hardcore Democrats who are never going to agree with anything with Trump, at least 25%. That means unanimity, virtually unanimity among Republicans and independents. That's the key to these numbers, because it's very hard, as you know, people, hey, if you get 52-48 in an election, it's a landslide, right? Because the country's so divided. So if you get essentially all the independents right now like what they see. And I think people that are low information, they voted this time, but they're not people that are going to watch the War Room or come to Real America's Voice. There's just some people just not into politics or the types of things we cover, even don't watch CNN. You see, when they are polled, they said, hey, I'm not following it day to day, but I like what I see. And what I see is the energy of President Trump and somebody that's in charge, Brian. This is essentially what Tim Cook is telling us. That it looks like leadership is now stepped back into the White House. Leadership is in this government, and for Apple to make a $500 billion, $500 billion investment here, and not in the in lower cost areas, at least for labor, is a major, massive step. Brian Glenn, your thoughts?
You're absolutely right, Steve, and I'll expand it to one more. The small business optimism, the index that really tracks how small business owners view the next 12 months, that's even at an all-time high right now. So the optimism from the consumer level to the business level is good. And I'll continue this with as far as the polling goes, Steve, take a look at what MSNBC did with getting rid of Joy Reid. They even know that they're on the wrong side of what the American people right now are voting for and what they're standing for. So they're even, when you look at the mainstream media, they're even having to reshuffle a little bit of what's important to them as far as what they want to, obviously they're pushing an agenda, but the American people aren't watching that. They're not voting for that. And of course, I love those poll numbers and it's nice to see. I was really kind of surprised, Steve, how many people still feel like it's okay for men to play in women's sports. I think it was 35% there. That I will never understand. But when it comes to business and locking down the border and fighting crime, those numbers are overwhelming for Trump.
Guys, and this is the thing. All these polls are favorable. I mean, these are not coming from just Fox. These are coming from everybody on these polls of how Trump is doing, and he's kicking butt right now. Thank you so much, April Green. First time super chat. Let's go. So we, the American people, agree with what the president and Musk are doing. The Dems need to be investigated and arrested. Well, if they merit the arrest, then 100%. Y'all show April some love in the chat, guys. So this came out this morning as well, guys. New DOGE bill would target more than $200 billion in annual improper payments from safety nets, lawmaker says. So again, guys, every single day they're finding, they're cutting hundreds of billions of dollars. And think about it. Those Doge checks, Doge dividend checks that we could be getting with cutting all this, Trump and them know exactly what they're doing. When it comes to the Social Security, like when Elon Musk says, hey man, things are looking really good when it comes to Social Security, increasingly optimistic. And then he puts out this tweet. I mean, not tweet. Golly, I still say that, guys. Puts out this post. We are increasingly optimistic that as the immense waste and fraud are eliminated from Social Security and medical, that there is potential to increase actual dollars received by citizens and better health care. Like, they're winning over the average the taxpayer by doing what? Saying we're going to give you $5,000 checks. And then they're winning over the seniors by saying, you know what? You've been hurting for a while. You need some help. And how about we increase the amount of money you're getting on Social Security? Like, they are putting America first, but what's amazing is that it's actually meaningful. Like, this would be such life-changing money for everybody. Check this out.
Doge is on the move. Up next at the IRS and our gold reserves.
I've been trying to go down and see the gold and make sure it's all there for about 10 years. I think the more sunlight, the better, more transparency, the better.
With Doge continuing its search for wasteful spending, Democrats insist on putting up roadblocks. Senator Elizabeth Warren tweeting this. Good news. After we raised the alarm, Doge has been blocked from accessing sensitive Department of Education data. Your Social Security number, income data, and personal information are safe for now. We will keep fighting back. But
wow.
Utah Senator Mike Lee just was not having it. He responded, you literally passed a law giving IRS visibility into Venmo payments, and now you're all about privacy, but only for Doge because it's trying to weed out waste, fraud, and abuse of taxpayer funds.
Boom.
And are the vampires living amongst us? Because Elon Musk taking a peek into Social Security, apparently over 20 million recipients are listed as being above the age of 100, with one being listed between the ages of 300.
Guys, let's just have some fun, guys. Because to me, this matters of putting these dollars into perspective. Say the average payment to these people, because I promise you, we don't have 20 million, almost 21 million people over the age of 100 years old. So let's take, for instance, 20 million. I'm just going to do 20 million people receiving a monthly check of $1,000. I'm about to do the math right here. All right, you multiply that by 1,000. So now we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, we're looking at $20 billion a month. $20 billion a month, potentially, let's say it's close, that people are collecting Social Security and they're fake. It's fraud. It's not, they're not even real. $20 billion a month. Times that by 12. What is that? $240 billion a year. Times that by 10 years. That's $2.4 trillion. That is a ton of money. Imagine if you can claw back $20 billion and then give everybody a $200-$300 increase per month in Social Security. This is what Elon Musk is talking about, because there's no way that this is right.
160 and 369 years old. I would like to eat what that person is eating. Now, a judge is ordering an extension on the temporary block of Musk's access to the government efficiency department.
Trying to stop him.
I guess musician Sheryl Crow would be happy with all of these roadblocks because the Grammy winner, she sold her Tesla. She donated the money to NPR in protest of Elon Musk. I'm sure that's the best use of her money. Welcome to the second hour of The Big Money Show. I'm Jackie DeAngelis, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Taylor Riggs, Dagan McDowell, Jeff Flock, in for Brian Brenberg, and O'Leary Ventures Chairman Kevin O'Leary is sticking around for another jam-packed hour. We're going to begin on Capitol Hill with the latest Doge moves. Hillary Vaughn has them for us. Hi, Hillary.
Hi, Jackie. Well, there is a concern that DOGE is getting access to sensitive information at the IRS, but this is something that people at the IRS have access to every single day to do their job. So the people who are protesting are really mad that DOGE is the one who's getting to look under the hood. The White House has insisted that anyone viewing anything sensitive or classified or private has the clearance and appropriate approval to do so. A White House official says that direct access to what's called the Integrated Data Retrieval System, which includes visual access to taxpayer accounts, is needed to audit the IRS, something the IRS workers do every day to Americans. The IRS is also not immune from downsizing. AP reports they will lay off thousands of IRS workers who have been in the probation period of their employment, with cuts happening as soon as next week.
People work very hard to pay their taxes every single day. They're hurting. They see wasteful government spending. We need to have government in the sunshine. We need to have spending in the sunshine.
In addition to finding fraud, DOGE is discovering lost taxpayer cash. DOGE helping the Department of Housing and Urban Development relocate $1.9 billion that had gone missing under Biden. That's nearly $2 billion that they say the Treasury can now use for other things. DOGE has also been digging into Social Security. Elon Musk estimating there are about 60 million more Social Security numbers issued than there are Americans, saying, quote, there are far more eligible Social Security numbers than there are citizens in the USA. This might be the biggest fraud in history, but Democrats say DOGE is exaggerating all this fraud they're finding.
These are by and large performative theatric measures. They'll pick these one-off cases and they'll say this is broad policy. This is what an entire department or agency does or represents, and it's just not true.
Musk also found that there's over 4 million people in the Social Security database who have an age over 140 years old. The oldest person alive right now in the world is 116 years old. So this is either a smoking gun for fraud, or as Elon Musk joked, vampires could be real. Jackie?
They just might be.
Guys, and I just literally did the math. So we showed you that there's almost 21 million people receiving checks on Social Security over the age of 100. If you multiply a regular $1,000 average payment across the board to those 21 million people per month, that's about $20 billion. If you were to take that $20 billion and just say, you know what? We figured out this fraud, waste, and abuse. We're going to take that and give it to the 68 million Social Security recipients right now. That's how many are in the United States right now. If you did that right now, you could increase everybody's Social Security check every month by $294 a month. If you were to actually cut out that $21 billion a month in fraud and give it back to increases Social Security recipients. Guys, that is how Elon Musk and Trump are thinking right now. What could you do with an almost extra $300 a month in Social Security? The math doesn't lie. Facts don't lie. Thank you so much, Skeeter DeBow, for the super chat. Let's go. Y'all show Skeeter some love in the chat. And if you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, guys, thank you so much for your support.
Hillary Vaughn, thank you so much. Meantime, there's more money set to come back to taxpayers across this country, but how soon until the left starts screaming about the D.C. housing market and unemployment numbers that are spiking? The median home value dropped 20% since November, and unemployment in D.C. for the week ending February 8th. The jobless filings were up 36% from the week prior. One more thing I thought was really interesting. The Kobayashi letter says 8,000 homes were listed for sale in Washington, D.C. and the metro area. Almost half of them have been put on the market in the last 30 days alone. So while the Democrats are melting down and they can keep crying and cursing and holding rallies, but as Charles Payne said in the previous hour, they're not listening. You've also got a swamp that's being drained, and these numbers are evidence of that. You're new in this hour, Jeff. What's your reaction?
Well, it's kind of an indication about how things have changed. You know, I'm old enough to remember something called the Golden Fleece Award, which a Democrat senator from Wisconsin named William Proxmire started in 1975. And each month he would give an award to a government agency that was wasting our money. Mm-hmm. This went on for years. It was the Democrats that were doing this. And now I guess it's a couple of generations later, right? Now it's the Republicans. Republicans that are taking the lead on it. And, I think arguably our government could have used a little bit of a shakeup. I don't know. You don't want to shake it too hard, but
shake it up.
Yeah. Oh, you do. Oh, I know. Dagan wants to.
Yes. I want to, Kevin, shake it until it doesn't feel good.
I remember the Fleece Awards. However, they didn't have social media in those days.
Right.
And so the message didn't get out as quickly as it's getting now, because it was always the bottom of the story of the day. I remember that award.
Yeah.
But this is good stuff going on. I don't know why anybody would think it isn't. And it hasn't ever been done. And I think it's a wonderful idea that this money stays in the economy instead of being wasted, because it would make the whole country more productive. And that's really why everybody, I would bet you 7 out of 10 people on the street like what's going on in this cost-cutting stuff. And every day it's getting more interesting, because they read the crazy stories. And they say, that's my money. I have $68,000 average salary, and I'm watching this. This is working. It's really interesting to watch it work.
In honor of Kevin O'Leary, because I know he's all about permitting reform, I think, Jackie, for me, DOGE goes a little bit step deeper. I think I love cutting the waste, fraud, and abuse, cutting the money, slashing jobs. But I think the next layer is going to have to be government working around red tape, because we all remember, and this is from the New York Times this morning, where they say passing a law is all great, but then you have companies are involved, agencies, you're applying for permits, how do you meet regulatory standards for construction, blah, blah, blah. It could be months or years before actual building of, let's say, a home or a new factory can actually start. You guys all remember, more than 2 years after Congress enacted the $5 billion EV charging stations, there's just 2, Ohio and New York, that have actually opened any. And in 3 years, only a number, dozens, have actually opened. That's well below the hundreds that they promised us. So I love DOGE and the cost cutting, but I also eventually want to see, how do we deal with the red tape? Keeping things safe with the permitting, but cutting the crap that takes years and years to go through to get anything done.
Yes.
That $5 billion program specifically ran through the Department of Transportation, called the NEVI program. Only it's less than $700 million was sent out to the states. Sean Duffy sent out a memo saying, we're putting a stop to this, so no more money goes out. And that any approvals that the states had submitted to the Department of Transportation, he has put the kibosh on them and said, whatever approvals you submitted, we're putting pause on that. But you will hear, for example, Senator Tim Kaine talking about, this is a war on veterans and the VA is slashing jobs. Be very careful, because the caterwauling and the shrieking, particularly by lawmakers who live in the kind of greater DC area, Charlie Hurt said this Friday, they're very concerned about those constituents losing their lunch money, so to speak, because 1,000 jobs, probationary jobs, were eliminated last week at the VA. That is 0.2% of the VA's 450,000 people who work there. And it is only 2% of the total probationary number of employees. This every bureaucrat is sacred is absolute hog manure. And that is how we got into this situation that we're in now, where we have government so bloated and dysfunctional that it's just a complete waste of not only time, but our hard-earned money.
Absolutely. And I really...
Guys, and I'm telling you this, the people see it. People, 100%, they did a poll, said 58% that Trump is doing a better job than Biden was as president. Ramiro Ramirez, thank you so much. Welcome to the family. Let's go. And welcome to the family, Skeeter DeBow. Let's go. Y'all show Skeeter and Ramiro some love in the chat. So, guys, they keep doing these polls because the media is trying to lie to people, saying that Trump's doing a horrible job. Nobody wants him to do this job. But yet, the polls, again, people keep feeling like they're gaslit. Like, well, the polls on doing all this say that he's doing a great job, but then everybody, the media keeps saying that he's doing a horrible job. It makes no sense. Look at this, guys. In Trump being in office a little over a month, he's already brought in over $1.6 trillion in investments into the United States. Apple this morning announced a $500 billion investment into the United States, 20,000 jobs, manufacturing facilities. Guys, when Biden was doing this, he was like, oh, we got to take from the taxpayer, called the Inflation Reduction Act, and we got to take from the taxpayers' money and go into more debt to do some more manufacturing and build more chips. Trump's like, no, let's just make everybody else build their factories here and invest into the United States. We don't have to make the taxpayers do it. That's the different thought between a MAGA and a Democrat, between a businessman and a career politician. Career politicians, all they know how to do is spend other people's money. A businessman knows how to create and incentivize to get people to spend their money. Thank you so much, Maria Winter, for the super chat. Let's go. Guys, y'all are so amazing. Appreciate all your support, guys. What's happening, we're bringing you the most breaking news, stuff that's happening that you're not going to see on mainstream media, just like this, guys, because all this stuff is happening, but we want you to hear it from the people themselves. Check this out.
This week, the House is planning to vote on our budget resolution, which seeks to implement the president's entire America First agenda. The resolution is really an initial framework for the reconciliation process. All it does is it allows us to bypass the Democrat obstruction in the Senate. The budget resolution that we're going to pass this week is not a law in itself, and everybody needs to understand that. It's just the first step in the process that will allow us to keep moving forward. Now, once the resolution passes the House, of course, we have to work with the Senate because they passed their own abbreviated version of a budget resolution last week. We all have to work together, and everybody knows that, to implement President Trump's full agenda. And that includes everything from the border to restoring America's energy dominance, to preventing the largest tax hike in U.S. history, dismantling the deep state, and restoring America's strength on the world stage. We cannot risk implementing only part of that agenda because every piece is so important. Now, I have confidence that our Republican friends in the Senate understand the need to pursue President Trump's vision of one big, beautiful bill at the end of all this. That's why we keep saying it consistently. This week, we need all House Republicans to unite. We cannot allow anything to get in the way of us delivering on the mandate the American people have given us. We owe it to the people of this country to get this thing done, and we will.
Guys, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, himself speaking over what they're working on this week. And then I've got it where he even goes even deeper, guys, into what's actually happened in the reasoning why. Check this out.
What is it that you would say to voters who are wondering, are they really focusing on what matters the most to us, which would be...
Guys, if you don't mind, guys, clicking the thumbs up like button. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate you so much.
Cost of living and probably immigration, those top two. Plenty on immigration. What about on that number one issue that really, I think, was so harmful to the Democrats in the fall?
Yeah, it was. Clearly, the president and all of us ran on a set of issues that were the most important to the people. We've got to secure the border. We have to get the economy under control, reduce inflation. We've got to get American energy dominance back and restore peace through strength, reduce the regulatory state, the bureaucracy, the deep state. All those processes are underway. The president's done an heroic job with executive authority right out of the gates and accomplished quite a bit. DOGE is working overtime, and all these things are happening. Now we have to codify it. So the reconciliation process is the key to getting that done. And for a lot of people back home who don't follow all the machinations here, the reconciliation is the one exception to having to get 60 votes at the 60 vote threshold in the Senate. Because we only have to have 53 Republicans in the Senate right now, doing something with a bare majority is the way to go. So we will use the reconciliation process to check a lot of the boxes of the promises that we made, and that is how we will get to the cost of living. The price of eggs is up high because that has more to do with bird flu than anything else, okay? There's a lot of mixed messages out there, but obviously inflation continues to be a major problem. The way to do that is to make sure small businesses have certainty, to make sure we don't have the largest tax increase in U.S. history, which is what will happen by default at the end of this year if we're not successful in this mission, to get taxes down, reduce regulations, and free up the free market again. And the way you do that, the way you ensure prosperity, which is what we're all about, is to get the government out of the way. way. This is the team to do it, and reconciliation is the vehicle in which we're going to get it done.
Easier said than done. The way that the logistics work out is something I want to delve into. Before we do that, if you're just joining us, we're at the AFP Freedom Embassy. Speaker Mike Johnson, our guest. And there's a few folks here that AFP has recognized as really high-level activists who've done a lot of work on the ground. And got a couple questions for you from them. So let's start. I'm sure this was done completely at random, but one of them happens to be from Louisiana. Eric is with us from your home state. Eric, take it away.
Hi, Mr. Speaker. My name is Eric. I recently graduated from our alma mater, Louisiana State University. And I'm focused on my future, hopefully building a career, starting a family in Louisiana. But the last few years have been difficult with the rising cost of energy, housing, and groceries. How would your principles and your vision for the next couple of years on issues help me and other Louisianians achieve our goal?
Great question. See, LSU students are so bright. They are look, I will concede to you that you got greater challenges than I had when I graduated LSU and started a family in Louisiana back in the mid-90s. There's a lot of headwinds right now. This election really was for all the marbles. I mean, it was a crossroads for the country, and we won. And so now we have the mandate, the opportunity to fix all this. The best thing that we can do to ensure liberty, opportunity, security for you and your young family that you'll start is to get government out of the way. And that's what our team is for. I mean, at the end of the day, the Republican Party, we talked about the core principles, but at the end of the day, you could summarize it. We're pro-family and pro-growth, right? And those are the two ingredients that make it easier for people to start out. My daughter's just graduating law school down there at LSU in May, and she just got married in June. So this is a live fire exercise for my family, too. And she's the oldest of our four. I got one that graduated undergrad and is on the way to law school. I got a son at the Naval Academy, and I have a 14-year-old. So they're all looking at me with the same anticipation. All right, Dad, get this fixed. We will, right? So I keep going back to reconciliation, but that's the quickest vehicle we have to achieve these desired results. And what we need is to get government out of the way. We need a smaller, leaner federal government that's out of your life so that the free market can thrive. If you reduce taxes and regulations, you allow job creators, entrepreneurs, risk takers, the people that create the jobs to do more of what they do. And you unleash that power of the U.S. economy that has been smothered by government regulation for too long. This is not theoretical. We did it, of course, in the first Trump administration. I was here as a freshman in 2017 when President Trump started. And we reduced taxes, reduced regulations. We had the greatest economy in the history of the world pre-COVID. I mean, really, every boat was rising in every demographic. And then we had all these disruptive events. So we can get back to that. We know the formula, and it will help everybody who's starting out. So I would,
guys, isn't that insane? We had the best economy in the entire world before COVID, and then some people didn't want it. Some people wanted Trump out. Guys, check this out. Like this Trump, Dan Bongino has now joined FBI Director Kash Patel as his deputy director. Trump posted, "Great news for law enforcement and American justice. Dan Bongino, a man of incredible love and passion for our country, has been named the next deputy director of the FBI by the man who will be the best ever director, Kash Patel. Dan has a master's degree in psychology from CUNY and an MBA from Penn State. He was a member of the New York Police Department, a highly respected special agent within the United States Secret Service, and is now one of the most successful podcasters in the country. Something he is willing and prepared to give up in order to serve, working with our great United States Attorney General Pam Bondi and Director Patel." Guys, how beautiful is this? Like, the team that Trump is pulling together is just phenomenal. And then, guys, the winning just keeps coming. Thank you so much, B1 Sly One, for the super chat. Say, keep up the great work, buddy. Shirts look great. Heck yeah. We're going to show these shirts at the end of the channel, the TrueLife News shirts. And Kent, thank you so much for the super chat. And Andy said, "Joel, I love when you give good news. God bless TrueLife News. When are you putting the shirt on sale? Can't wait. Looking for great and white." Yep. Thank you so much, Andy, Kent, and B1 Sly One. Y'all show them some love in the chat. We'll give you the more details about the shirt in after the show, guys. So Donald Trump post, Apple has just announced a record $500 billion investment in the United States of America. The reason? Faith in what we are doing, without which they wouldn't be investing 2 cents. Thank you, Tim Cook and Apple. Guys, $500 billion. That's a lot of money. But you know what? They know that the economy is about to explode under Trump. And again, too, it's just insane that we're continuing to see leaks. We're continuing to see that the Democrats are fighting tooth and nail, guys. Listen to this.
You're set to introduce a bill this week to entirely eliminate this agency. Tell us why.
Well, first of all, the CFPB has been an albatross of an agency. It's been unaccountable to Congress. It gets its funding directly from the Federal Reserve. Most people don't know that. It basically shows up with a letter asking the Federal Reserve for hundreds of millions of dollars just so it can operate. And it really is this leviathan of an agency that just goes from company to company without really any enforceability by law. They put out these letters, these memorandum to force corporate action when they don't even go through the Administrative Procedures Act and the Process Act. This is a thing created by Elizabeth Warren. They put it in Dodd-Frank during the Obama administration. It was passed on a party line vote. And before the CFPB, each federal agency dealt with consumer protections. The Democrats' idea was to put it into one agency that operates outside of Congress, really outside of even the purview of the executive branch. And so it's time for that agency to be shut down completely, brought to a close. So my bill would end the CFPB.
So how much do these agencies cost taxpayers when they're actually doing more harm than good with all these rules and regulations stopping companies from having progress? I assume there are other agencies in addition to CFPB that have the same situation where maybe there is room to merge these agencies into the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Well, I will tell you that regulatory overhaul, and I mean from the federal government, is something that is long overdue. There are many agencies whose missions actually need to be reformed for what our current economy does today and for the future, not for what it's been in the past. But the reason in particular that the CFPB is especially problematic is because it really operates outside of the purview of even Congress. Sure, the administrator of the CFPB has to come in and testify before Congress, but we all know those hearings, a lot of times the director is basically trying to run out the clock when it comes to meaningful oversight. Under the Biden administration, Mr. Chopra barely answered congressional inquiries about what they were doing and why. But when they will put out publications, memos, letters, it would basically have the force of law on companies before they actually went through the full administrative process. You cannot have an agency operating like that, a rogue agency like this. So in my view, it's more than time for it to be shut down completely. And I'm glad that the president issued a stop work order on the CFPB because everything they've been doing needs to go under strict review.
But I mean, you could understand how some people are unnerved by Elon Musk. I mean, the White House advisor, Musk, is asking a majority of federal workers to outline 5 weekly accomplishments and send them back in an email by midnight tonight. Musk said on X, the reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they're not even checking their email at all. In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there's outright fraud. Some agencies, however, like the FBI, the Pentagon, and the intelligence agencies have told their employees to hold off on sending responses, Congressman. They're going to do it.
Look, what I think is that Elon Musk is correct in this. You have to get an accounting of what people are actually doing week in, week out. That's how it operates in the private sector. You have to have strict responsibility to your higher ups about what you're actually doing, how you're performing. The fact that you have federal employees and Democrats who are pushing back saying this is outrageous is ridiculous. It is the absolute right thing to do. There has to be accountability when it comes to federal workers. And to a broader point, for the Democrats who were upset that President Trump essentially has a special envoy examining the federal bureaucracy, that's a good thing because the executive branch has had special envoys all the time. Nobody on the Democrat side of the aisle was upset when John Kerry was the special envoy going to Europe and every other place in the country trying to put together climate deals. They weren't upset about that, but now they're upset that Elon Musk is the special envoy to the United States about examining the waste and inefficiency in the federal government. government. It is long past due that this has occurred.
Let's
the reason
go.
why Democrats are squealing is because now the target are their pet projects and their pet agencies that operate, frankly, regardless of politics in America, regardless of congressional intent.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to be watching that one. Congressman, last week, President Trump endorsed you to become Florida's 2026 gubernatorial race. He called you a total winner on Truth Social, writing this: Byron Donalds would be truly great and powerful governor for Florida. And should he decide to run, will have my complete and total endorsement. Run, Byron, run. Wow, Congressman, what an endorsement from President Trump. Are you officially in this race?
Well, we're working right now to figure out when we're going to make a formal announcement. Haven't gotten there yet, Maria, but I do want to thank the president for his support and his endorsement. I said at CPAC the other day, I wouldn't let him down. And if I choose to get into this race, I will not let the people of Florida down. But we have a lot of work to do. And in the meantime, before we even get to the gubernatorial race, we still have to get the president's agenda done on Capitol Hill. And I talked with Speaker Johnson the other day. He has my full attention to make sure we get that done.
Well, you've got lots
guys,
of
that's could you imagine going from DeSantis? Because honestly, guys, I really think DeSantis is going to run for president again in 2028. And I think he's going to have a really, really good standing to win. Guys, he's literally working to eliminate property taxes in Florida. They just started a DOGE department in Florida of just continuing MAGA and giving people back what they already, essentially own. He even said that. He said, why do you buy a property and then pay it off, and then every single year you got to keep paying the government? Like, that doesn't make any sense. I wanted to show you this, guys, because a lot of people are getting really happy about this, guys. This is insane. So, Dan Bongino is the new deputy director of the FBI. Wall Street Apes came out and said, well, guess what? They're pulling up stuff that he said about some of these politicians. Listen to this. Dan Bongino said, I worked with Hillary Clinton. She was evil. The stories agents around her have and have kept bottled up inside are horrendous. Working on her detail was generally considered a punishment assignment. You will never meet a more mercenary and destructive public figure in your lifetime. She hates you, all of you. Guys, this is Dan Bongino. Why would he say that? Like, this is insane. And I'm telling you, him and Kash Patel are going to be revealing a lot. Because what you're about to see next, this whole attack on the American people, our free speech, it's all been rampant. And now we actually got the people who can actually do something about it. Check this out.
Against the people. So let's stand up for real, if we could, in this Congress, Mr. Chairman, for the freedom of speech, for the freedom of press, for the right to petition government for a redress of grievances, for the freedom of assembly, for the free exercise of a religion, and for no establishment of religion. Let's at least converge around that. And I thank you for your indulgence, and I yield back to you.
Gentleman yields back. I would just say, first of all, thank you all for being here. To just in response briefly, I'm all for getting the facts and the truth. And the way you get there is robust debate. It's the First Amendment. There's a Ms. Crockett quoted scripture. There's a great scripture. I think it's in Proverbs. It says, the first to present his case seems right until another comes along and questions him. It's called the principle of cross-examination. That's basically the First Amendment. One person says one thing, another person says something else, and we can figure out the truth and the facts. If you're just getting one side, and again, from left or right in a political context, that's the problem. I'm for the full apple, to use your metaphor. What I know is, I don't know Mr. Aaron's background, but I know these three people, for defending the full apple, to use your metaphor again, they've been harassed for doing it. Mr. Taibbi had the IRS knock on his door, for goodness sake. He had a Democrat member of Congress threaten to refer him to the Justice Department for prosecution, for goodness sake. Mr. Schellenberger's a wanted man in Brazil for standing up for the truth, for the facts. In fact, I'm going to ask a question here. Ms. Subramania, I know what you did during the trucker blockade. I know how you've testified. I know My guess, I don't know specifically, my guess you've been harassed and targeted as well for your defense of the truth and the full apple, to stick with Mr. Raskins.
Absolutely. A few months after I wrote my story for the Free Press on the truckers' protest, in June of 2022, I found myself in a study on a list of people, people where the author, a professor at a university in Calgary, which is a city in the province of Alberta, a federally funded study basically was accusing me of spreading Russian disinformation.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary. And I was featured on this list with Tulsi Gabbard and a bunch of other.
Yeah, we know that whole spiel.
Yeah, and so when I saw my name on this list, I was absolutely horrified because that is the chilling effect of.
So here are three individuals who value the First Amendment and the truth so much that they're willing to face the attacks that they've faced. Value the freedom of the press, freedom of speech, the rights we enjoy as Americans. So I want to thank you all for being here. You included, Mr. Aaron, but I especially want to thank you three.
Thank you.
Because it's been I know over the last several years what you've had to endure, and your willingness to come back again. And we're going to have you back again at some point, because I don't think 9 hearings is enough on the First Amendment. I think, as Mr. Grothman said, we should do this every single week, because if you lose the First Amendment, you lose the right to debate, everything else falls apart, just the way it works. And so, again, thank you all for being here today.
Guys, I'm telling you, things are coming back. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. If you don't mind clicking the thumbs up like button, it really helps out so much. Thank you so much. And don't forget, our new channel, TrueLife Breaking News. This one's called TrueLife News. The other one is TrueLife Breaking News. Short form content. The link is in the description to join. And guys, please join us over there. We want to hit 1,000 subscribers this week. We know we can do it, guys. We're so close, and appreciate your support. And I want to go ahead and show you guys again. Guys, we got the TrueLife News t-shirts coming out. So this is the sampling. Says Real American with the American flag behind it. We've got the American flag. You can see right here, TrueLife News right there. TrueLife News is very minimal on this, guys, because I really just want to get that patriotic. And then also, too, on the back, you can see we got the American flag. So it looks beautiful, guys. I love it. I feel like these are, I'm not joking. The quality of this shirt is so nice. The printing is the highest quality printing that we could get from the manufacturer. It's not just like some shirt you take to the person down the street and iron on. No, this is literally like made into the shirt. We wanted the top quality. We wanted the best of the best for these t-shirts as we begin to selling all these. And remember, we're going to be donating a portion of this to charity as well, guys. But I'm super excited. We got so much things happening, guys, on this channel with your support. I mean, I'm just so grateful for our leadership that we have in the White House, for our elected leaders, what's happening with our country. I'm so excited that I 100% believe you guys. We're going to see an increase for Social Security recipients coming from Elon Musk himself about where all the findings and the DOGE findings and all the fraud, waste, and abuse in Social Security, and then, giving that back to the American people. We're living in amazing times, guys. I love you all. Appreciate you so much. And we'll see you in the next one. Take care.